Hello, I'm Soribel Sosa from Dominican Republic, and today I'm sharing with you my learnings from this week in PPCR. We're talking about managing risk and adverse events in clinical trials, and what we have to consider in this topic. First, we have to be clear that safety is one of the main things in clinical trials. As ethics aspect talks about non-maleficence and beneficence, we have to be clear in the design of the study about those topics. We have to remember that we have different phases in a study. For example, we have the preclinical phase where we are considering the safety of the drugs of study. Then we have phase 1 when we are trying to identify the maximum dose of the patient. Then after phase 1 we have phase 2. It is a phase where we have from 20 to 50 patients trying to see the efficacy of the treatment in a study. Then we have the phase 3 when we have to do a multicentral trial, and we have to see this in a major population. And at the end, we have the phase 4, which is the post-marketing surveillance, where we are trying to see what adverse event we can find in a whole population. After that, we have been doing a review about the phases in the study. We have to remember the limits in safety in a study. We have many. For example, in these limitations, we have the sample size. If we don't have a large sample size, we can be limited by this. If the trial design is very important. In the trial design, we have to identify what am I going to do if I have this. What am I going to do if we have an adverse events? Those things have to be clear in the trial design. Another thing is bias. Bias can be related with limitation to the safety of a new drug in a study. And the sample size calculation, it's very important. We have to have a number of persons appropriate to limit these things in safety. This process of identifying safetiness in a study, it has to be dynamic and evolutive. What does that mean? We have to be expected about what is going on in every phase of study. For example, one thing that is considered to report the adverse events is to be as soon as possible. And those adverse events are reported by causality. And what is that? What does that mean? Well, causality means that the report of an adverse event can be by seriousness, expectation, and relatedness. Seriousness is related to how long, how it is this outcome compromising the life of the patient. It is related of death, and that is the level of seriousness. Another thing is, it's the adverse event described in the literature, it's expectance. And the last option is relatedness. It is the adverse event related with the drugs in investigation. So here are my take points from this week. We have to remember always the PI, the investigator, the sponsor, the physicians has to be on mind the adverse events. Remember, when we are doing a clinical trials, the main thing is the safety of the population.